Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hanagriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Los Reyes Mexican Grill, Lee at Nicholson, welcome to the Thursday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm Charles Hanagriff along with Jimmy Ott. Taylor Sharp filling in the studio back for Jordan Kinchis. Thank you for helping us out today. We got Matt Yumans with us, David Colucci with us, Kenny White with us today as we inch toward the weekend. And we are we've been coming to Los Reyes for a while now, but this is our first time to set up on the patio. We picked this weather to come out on the patio. Nice call, Jimmy.
Well,
this is nice.
Oh, this is, this little guy, Bo Wegman's been following us around trying to get us on TV for quite some time. And finally, he delivers today, with some good weather and some, in a setting like this. We're actually not on the patio. See, this is the best of both worlds. We're in the covered,
yeah, right.
But as you raise the three big garage-style doors, we're open air. But covered, Charlie. It's great. We got a little FanDuel TV. We got a little ESPN on over here. But how about this weather? How nasty was it yesterday with that the humidity?
As bad as it was yesterday, it's that good today.
Oh, it's just fabulous. So it's an open air edition of Live at Lunch. This is more like this. This puts you in the mood, man. This is great stuff. This is deep South fall weather here, baby. This is awesome.
And we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. You're starting tonight. We've got Commanders and Eagles, which is one we've been pointing at for a couple of weeks. Is a big night for Jaden Daniels as far as where the Commanders and the Eagles match up with each other. I think we can safely eliminate the other two teams in that division. This is a two-team race, and tonight we get to see. This is he's got to go to Philly. He's on the road, so this is a big night for Jaden Daniels.
This is the second time where he's been on the standalone stage. With the other time, it was the two former LSU quarterbacks going at it, the two former LSU Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks going on it in Monday Night Football. But that was just still was novelty. Now I really enjoy listening to the shows that I listen to on a regular basis. Now they're talking about O'Daniels as what kind of quarterback is he? And we all pulling for him. We all want him to be good, but I think I was listening to Mike Lombardi, who's a friend of our show, has been on with us. I've spent some time with him down at Beau Rivage when he was down there a year ago, and he came on last year and around this time when he said, no, this is the best player in college football. And so we had him on to explain his take and his analysis. And some people just don't. We talk about it a lot. What is sustainable for an NFL quarterback? No, it's not RG3 run and read option over and over on their way to winning a weak NFC East that particular season. Remember they played, that was the last Sunday night game. Yeah. It was like 7-8 or 8-7 teams.
They played the Seahawks in the playoffs.
No doubt. Yes, Seahawks at home.
Yeah.
Had the lead. He got hurt in that game.
He did.
He got hurt in that game, and they lost. Russell Wilson led the Seahawks to a comeback win. But what is this saying? Vince Young won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Well, that running, that's not sustainable. At some point, you're going to have to make some throws from the pocket. And Lombardi explained how, he especially downfield. Charlie, balls that travel 40 yards or more in the air, he's thrown 7 of them. He's completed 5 of them. That's a high percent. He never misses, man, on the deep throw. How many guys just defend themselves and throw it out of bounds or overthrow it, don't put air under the ball and things like this. And so he processes quickly because people see Caleb Williams. We'll see a guy who can move like Mahomes, and he's shifty. He can buy himself sometimes. He can throw on all kinds of different platforms. So he's got that Mahomes style, but he doesn't process like Jaden Daniels does. He's holding the ball too long. That's contributing to some of the big sack
Yeah, it's
total.
not all on the line.
He's got protection issues, no question. But he holds the ball too long as well, and he does not throw. Intermediate, they throw it fine. But rarely do you have a guy that has all the touch. What is one? Was it like the 8 to 15 yard? He's like 70%. He's got touch. He's got accuracy at all levels. The underneath stuff, the down the field stuff. He's processing quickly. You talk about the simulator. That has made such a big impact on his game. Not sure if it's going to have that type of impact on others, but for him, it has worked because he was not the same quarterback, in 2022 that he was in 2023. And Kelly talked about all that in the offseason. We're trying to get him to throw the ball, get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball. We're screaming at the TV, get rid of the ball his first year in Baton Rouge. And when you win the Heisman Trophy with 3 losses as a quarterback, because you really got to be much better than everybody else, which he was. And the other thing, Charlie, he's throwing from the pocket. He's comfortable in the pocket. He's accurate. And guess what? He can do. Just 2 years ago, he wasn't. He was trusting what he had. And there's only one guy that's probably faster than him in the league, and that's in Baltimore.
One more, yeah.
But he's right behind him. And it's so hard for the guys that can just tuck it and run. It's so hard for Michael Vick to be settled in the pocket. It's so hard for Lamar Jackson. Jackson's working at it, and it's baby steps, and it's improved. Jalen Hurts, all these guys. Daniels is so far ahead of all these guys and guess what? He still is hard to bring down, and he is elusive and fast as crap, and he is what so many teams are trying to do. Give me this great athlete with a big arm, and we're going to turn him into a quarterback. Easier said than done. It's tougher for, these guys. It's easier for Nussmeier because he has no threat of running. We're trying to get him to run a little bit, but it's easier for those guys to be settled in the pocket. So he is the perfect quarterback, and I think it is built for sustainability. He's gotten better, but the one fly in the ointment. He's got to protect himself.
Yeah.
He's got to protect. And I see him. I don't see this macho got to win the locker room. He's got the locker room already.
He's got the city.
Yeah,
He's got the city.
And it's in that too. You talk about there could be. He's got the perfect situation, a complete purge of the organization from top to bottom, in which was you talk about an owner keeping a team and an organization down, and going beyond that because he took it off the field as well. And so it's just and when you have a long-suffering fan base, my son's got some kids from the Virginia area in his fraternity, and they want to talk Jaden Daniels with him all the time. They're so excited.
They have no
so
idea
excited.
who John Riggins is.
Yes.
They
They're
don't remember.
so excited
They
to
don't
have
remember
him there,
Washington
man. He is the toast of the town.
Here's the number that I like, and I know you're going to like too. First 5 games of the season, Daniels averaged 11.4 carries per game.
Oh.
The last 5 games, he has averaged 5.6. He's cut it basically in half. Now, the averages are still up there. Now, and one of those games, to be fair, was Carolina, where he only played 1 series. But those numbers are coming down ever so slightly. The average yards per attempt has been high all season. It was down last game against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's got a really good defense, so I'm fine. He is pushing the ball at 7.8 yards per attempt in every game this year except Pittsburgh. So that and in a couple of games that number has been up around 10. So that's okay. The completion percentage is good. 2 interceptions on the whole season. One of them on a miraculous play by the Cardinals defender. We were watching that game together, and where he makes the one-handed deal. So you're going to get a little bit of that. You're playing in the NFL, and he had, like I said, he's won the locker room, the city, everything.
And the difference too, Charlie. Now, what do we say also? And we've talked ad nauseum with Jalen Hurts, but think about it. Jalen Hurts got so many more luxuries than Jaden Daniels. Does he have a better receiving core?
No. He's got
I'm
one
talking about
really good. Does Jalen Hurts? Yes, absolutely.
Okay, does he have a better offensive line?
Yes.
Does he have a better running game?
Although Washington's offensive line's been way better than I ever thought.
No,
but yes.
no. Quinn did a good job of kind of lean. He almost pulled a little bit of a Sean Payton. When Sean Payton left the Dallas organization and filled his roster with some spots and needed it because they were rebuilding the whole thing.
Specifically,
Quinn did the same, took some of their guys, and that's why when they had a couple of injuries to their stars, you see their depth is gone at Dallas because Quinn's got it. But on all levels, in Hurts is, look, I'm wrong. He's a long-time starting quarterback in the league. We can debate how good, all right? But he doesn't have all this loaded deck. I mean, he's got a patchwork offensive line. They're serviceable. That's good enough. The running game is serviceable. It's actually pretty good. I like the Robinson-Eckler off speed. I like the change of pace with those two guys. Robinson runs hard, and Eckler's been extremely productive.
It's a perfect spot for Eckler because he was a high-usage back early in his career. And
that's
now,
going to wear he's too little, for that. So, and McLaren I'm glad because this guy had 1,000-yard receiving seasons with those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So you don't think he loves Daniels. But Daniels doesn't have, at all levels, and he certainly doesn't have the defense that Philadelphia has as well. So, I mean, he is such a big reason for turning him into, if he was just a normal rookie, say, who's an average rookie right now? Is Bo Nix average
of the group? Yeah.
Kind of the middle of the road?
Yes.
Not great, not bad, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if Bo Nix was there, they'd be 4-5. 5-4, maybe 4-5, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, they're 7-2.
Right.
He's really. I'm, and I didn't know if he was how he's gonna make for him to just continue his development and move up a level from college to pro is so unusual. It's impressive.
There's no entitlement. The work ethic is off the charts. They're giving him the tools. I'm really happy for him. Eagles are playing well. This is 5 in a row now.
Yes.
They have embraced running the football a lot more. Saquon Barkley,
he's their workhorse.
If it wasn't for Derrick Henry, would be the top back in football. I think Barkley's just
Would they give 2 All-Pro running backs?
Yeah.
Those are the 2.
Those are the 2.
Yeah.
And of course he's got the highlight level plays. Talk about the receiver from Washington, McLaurin, being kind of let out of jail, if you will. How about Barkley having to play with those garbage teams in New York?
And he's got a little extra juice because he's like, wait a minute, really? I'm just going to let me walk to Philadelphia? I mean.
In the division, yeah. It's particularly disrespectful. They've got some good wins in there against the Bengals is one of them. Well, I shouldn't say the Cowboys is a good win anymore, but they are playing really well. Games in Philly. We've seen this schedule really crystallize this year, Jimmy, when for a longest time we would get the we get the best of the second-tier college games on Thursday night. We get the worst pro game.
Yes.
Now all of those second-tier, really nice, mid-level, even sometimes big-time games have moved to Friday. And the college games that are on Thursday are kind of bottom of the barrel. We've turned our attention back to the NFL.
To the point where Al Michaels is, but he's deep into his career. He can get a little ornery. This just in, Charlie. Guy's been around for a long time, can get a little ornery. Okay?
I would have never guessed.
But he is funny when he starts bitching about the poor matchups that he gets. He's got one tonight. He'll be excited. He was excited last week. Yeah. With the Burrow-Jackson, with the Ravens, Cincinnati, and it came down to it. It was a great game. Great game. So he's got another one. We've got to give props to our buddy Chris Massero. We're sitting at that Lacahena, whatever bar it was on the beach in Pacific Beach, and he's like, I'm telling you, my exacta in the NFC East, Washington, Philadelphia. Either way.
Yeah.
It is so far just a 2-team race.
Right.
I mean, it is. Now, Dallas has had some injuries too, but they're not close. Even before
that was a pretty bold prediction in August that you just throw Dallas out.
Very much so. To this point, Washington's already hit their win total.
Yeah.
They've already hit their win total. We're over here at Los Reyes. Man, how about the weather? Come and enjoy the patio over here. We got the doors up over here, the garage-style doors, so you can sit outside and enjoy the sun, or you can sit in the covered area and be in the shade but still enjoy the open air and the great weather that we're having over here. Plenty of – and when you get back here, you just realize how much room we have in this restaurant, man. And so the second location, the original location on Coursey Boulevard, but the second location's been open, I don't know, a year or so. But if you haven't been here, man, it is really, really impressive. So beautiful landscaping over here in the patio area. We got 4 TVs in the outside bar. So, I mean, the best of both worlds. Watch your ball games, get some fresh Mexican food and great margaritas. I mean, happy hour is 2:30 to 6:30, 4-hour happy hour, 7 days a week. So I love coming over here and getting my fajita steak burrito or with the shredded chicken tacos with the homemade tortillas. Check it out, man. Los Reyes Mexican Grill on West Lee Drive, just off of Nicholson, right across from Mike Anderson's.
Live at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. He ran for 46 yards against Kentucky on 9 carries. That was a game that Florida won by 4 touchdowns. So it's not like he weighs 240 pounds. He's an athlete, but he weighs 240 pounds.
Big old dude.
Big, and especially with a hamstring injury.
No, he's got to be more limited. Yeah. No.
And what I'm telling you is, it wasn't like it was high volume rushing attempts even before that.
He's not. I can understand the defending the running quarterback phobia. I mean,
just a little bit. Yeah,
it's real.
Right.
But this is not that guy, and this is not the spot for that guy coming off it, because a hamstring injury usually it's the ball carrier gets in the open and he's got to go fully extended, sprint, full sprint, and then you see him pull up at the end, or a guy chasing a guy in the open field. The ball hits to the left side, a slow roller, and the baseball player, the batter, is trying to beat it out, and he's fully run. It's when you go full. So you're going to have that hesitancy to go full speed. So he's not much of a runner to begin with, but in this spot, he's going to ease him. He's going to be more of the thrower, and there's the quarterback that it does give them more of a chance, even out with a running threat. He's not. I'd be more concerned with his arm than his legs of beating me in this one. And in some Billy, he can't do this. He can't run a lot of design plays with this guy coming off a hamstring. That would be bad, man. He would. I'm not just saying that because, we don't want him to run. No, he's rushing back off a hamstring injury to begin with. Guys that are sidelined for a hamstring injury are usually out. Now, granted, there are different lengths. There's strains, there's pulls, and there's different levels of it. You can do the dry needling to try and speed it up. But time is the main healer for a hamstring, and that would be he can't do that. He can't do it. Because if he wasn't on a team, Charlie, and he wasn't recruited so heavily, would they have retained Billy? The recruiting class is nothing to get excited about.
It's not.
So why?
It was a big reason.
Okay.
It was a big reason.
He's kept the locker room together. They are competing. They were just outmatched on Saturday. But that and Lagway gives him some hope, huh?
Yeah, he does. And he's very much tied to Napier. That was the word. If Billy goes, I go. So, yeah, that was me. I don't know how much – they didn't have a president, okay, from the summertime. They have an interim president. I think that also played a role in Napier being retained. I don't think that Strickland wanted to make a coaching change and then have to explain it to the new president, whoever that is. I think that helped him. But Lagway's a big deal.
Charlie, how long have we ranked the coaching jobs in college football? As long as we've done this, pretty much, right? 30-something years, all right? Has Florida slipped in our rankings?
Yes.
Okay, why? Because they're not spending. They don't have the budget. They're not spending like some of the others. They're not operating at the budget at Auburn, Alabama. LSU has passed them up. We talked about going into between the 2002-2003 season. What was up? Well, they went to this traditions fund, and you couldn't sit on those 8 tickets on the 50 for just face value. That's over. That was a big step. Yeah. And LSU started operating at a much bigger budget because of it. They didn't hire Pat Sullivan because they didn't want to take care of his Florida's spending. So this is a cost-cutting measure. No, we're not Auburn. We don't have Yellowwood just to write us a check for it. They don't have that. And so I think that's part of it as well. And when you don't have leadership in place, just to spend extra money because you spend on them. You got assistants, I'm sure, under multi-year deals. And how much you gonna pay the new guy? It's something that we think is just normal because LSU's done it before, and Auburn's done it like no other. But Florida,
this would be the second biggest buyout behind Jimbo.
I'm saying
if they had done it.
It would be consistent with how they've operated the last 25 years.
Yeah, there's no question. They've also got a basketball coach that's in peril, which is a whole different story. But
and they got a good team too. I mean, I watched them against Grambling the other night. No, they're deep. They actually.
We'll see how long he gets to coach them.
I know. So, but I'm just saying from the basketball perspective, they're a tournament team.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't last year. I don't think they were.
I don't remember.
I don't think so. Don't forget our friends over at Workbox Services. My buddy Martin Padial, doing a great job at Workbox and Workbox LLC. Workbox can handle all of your movable storage needs, commercial and residential. Our shipping containers come in various sizes, not just one size like a lot of places. 8 by 8 feet, 8 by 10, 8 by 20, or even 8 by 40 feet. Units also can be customized for any preference that you have, any use. Custom lunchrooms, offices, work sites for plumbers, for welders, dual purpose, part office, part storage, climate control, shelving, lighting. You can use different materials, whatever you need. Give my buddy Martin Padial and Workbox a call at 343-4886 at workboxllc.com.
Live at Los Reyes, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. And we return here at Los Reyes Mexican Grill, corner of Burbank and Wesley and Nicholson. We're out here on the patio enjoying the great weather.
Our system, we were unable to.
The horn's broken.
Yeah, the hockey horn.
The horn's broken.
Colucci, I apologize for our technical difficulties, but do you want to just, remember when the station would go out and it'd say, we're experiencing technical difficulties, or do you want the real story?
It sounds like you guys are at a different location, so something had to be.
No, it is sunny and 68, and we're open air at Los Reyes Mexican Grill. It is beautiful. We got FanDuel TV, we got ESPN. It's a beautiful day.
You guys are
but
just depressed. You're depressed from that beating when you all gave out this LSU team that like.
That's where I'm going. That's where I'm going. Basically, management says that this show, after that pick with the LSU Alabama game, does not deserve any type of intros recorded. So they leased out our equipment during this time slot. So it was that bad. Yes. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
Charlie, though, I didn't realize Charlie hosts the post-game show. So this is great now. I've been spreading that around there. You got to listen to these LSU post-game shows because my friend Charlie, Hanny is in charge there. But, that was shocking. You guys have a fabulous crowd, especially at night. And we all thought, that Alabama was a little suspect this year, not as good as past years. And, it was kind of shocking to me as well. I didn't touch the game. I laid off of it because I knew it was a tough matchup. But, wow.
Colucci, that's what makes it sting that much more. This is not one of the better Alabama teams that have come through this building. And listen, that stadium was ready to blow the top off. Trust me. They were right. They gave them nothing. We had a 4th and 1, and it lasted one play. We turned the ball over the next play.
The very next play.
The very next play. This was.
And
this was almost as bad as.
Are you guys at a restaurant on a patio there?
Yeah. At a Mexican grill.
Nice. Do they have Brian Kelly on the grill itself now?
He's washing dishes in the back. Yeah.
He's got the merits. He's being reprimanded.
But in all seriousness, this is now. Listen, it was 3 off seasons ago where there were 4 big time, resource rich, history rich programs making hires: Florida, Oklahoma, USC, and LSU. And so far, Brian Kelly's outperforming their 3 hires. It's not close. I mean, Venables at Oklahoma. Billy Napier's lucky to be back next year, and Lincoln Riley, you're close over there.
I mean, come on, look at the talent level that you guys have had. I mean, look at what Daniels is doing. Look at what the kid on the Giants is doing that you guys always tout. There's a major talent level between LSU.
Well, Brian Kelly recruited. Brian Kelly recruited Jaden Daniels. He got that one right.
I'm saying, yeah, but I mean, he's got to be on some sort of hot seat there, guys. I mean, the experience.
I don't. No, he's not on a hot. He's not on a hot seat. There's a difference between. This is at a low level of confidence from the fan base. And then, I mean, this one is like, okay, we're wondering now if this guy's got it. So no, being on a hot seat and fan unrest are two different things. So, they're not firing him. They're not chewing off $70 million. Not 0% chance.
Let me ask you this question, though, Jimmy. What if his buyout was $15 million? Would he be on the hot seat then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
It's all according to contract. But that's, and I'm glad I'm learning these things from you guys because you guys are right there. I mean, you have to sometimes bite the bullet when you make a mistake. And, I mean, not that they've made a mistake. It's not just proven yet. But this was definitely a season where you felt that they could have an uptick, LSU. And, just losing in that fashion to an arch rival, especially in a nighttime primetime game in your area, that's just has been unheard of, even in the Orgeron era, So I remember all these teams and all these coaches for LSU in the last, going back 10 to 15 years. And right now, definitely the campus has got to be on an all-time low. And you got to get right. You got to beat Florida this week, I believe, is the matchup. And 4-point favorite on the road, 12:30 Las Vegas time. We're seeing a lot of action on this game, and just because of the fact of the poor performance, we're seeing it on Florida here at the Rampart and the South Point. We opened this game at 4.5, and some of the other places around town opened it at 5. I see that downtown competitor opened it at 7. I don't know what they were thinking, but you have the game now sitting at 4 basically across the market. And we've been taking some Florida action early on, but Florida's not that good. I mean, you guys need to right the ship, and this is a great game for, an adjustment and to right the ship here, even though it's on the road in Florida.
Well, you don't have to worry about overconfidence or, the team being emotionally spent because there wasn't a lot of emotion used up by that performance by LSU. And maybe this is what they need. We'll see. But no, the Florida confidence also, it's leaning more and more to way DJ Lagway playing for Florida. And there's been a big dip-off to the Ivy League transfer. Now, look, we know you specialize in the NFC East. We have an NFC East matchup tonight, huh?
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I can't wait to see who's rooting for tonight.
Finally, a matchup in the NFC East. You're correct. This is finally a matchup, not a lopsided destruction of a team.
Eagles getting the action, the more established team at home on Thursday night, getting the support. I'm sure you write more Eagles action in Washington so far.
Yeah, 5.5, but Washington has become a focal point in our market here, guys. I mean, just the way that Daniels has led this team and the way they played, I mean, they're competing with top-level teams. You saw that against Pittsburgh last week. It's a tough spot, though, to bounce right back, go to a team that won 5 in a row, going into Philadelphia. But let me tell you something. Sirianni is capable of screwing up anything at this point. I watched this guy. His teams open up big leads. He starts rah-rahing on the sideline, and before you know it, the other team, even if it's Jacksonville, is right on your neck, fighting you to the finish. So this is a tough matchup. This sways the whole NFC East because if you open up the 2-game lead, it becomes a lot more difficult on Washington. They seem like they're a, wild card playoff team, but who knows? There's a ton of football to be played, and the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys are doing nothing. There is no improvement. There's disarray in both locker rooms. Injuries, plethora of injuries for the Cowboys, especially with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Parsons before that, Lawrence before that. No excuses, though. Dallas has to perform better than what they've been doing. And this is definitely, a season where I believe McCarthy will not last after this year. But is that really the answer? I mean, we go over it time and time again. You guys make fun. We make light of it. But it's serious. It's Jerry Jones that is the problem. Got to stop pulling the strings, guys. I mean, this guy is no Don Corleone. He's no John Gotti. He's no nobody. I mean, this guy is just like turned this team and this franchise into an utter joke and disappointment.
Colucci, is this the last time Washington's going to be an underdog this year? And I'll give it to you real quick because I know you probably don't have it in front of you. The only road games after tonight are at Dallas and at New Orleans, and I would think that they would be a favorite in both of those games. The rest of the games are at home, and they don't play anybody like Baltimore. I mean, there's a game against the Eagles. This will be reversed. They play the Falcons. They play the Titans. Is this the last time they're going to be an underdog?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Maybe the Eagle game, Charlie. That's about it. You know, if the Eagles come out and, if the Eagles blow them out, I mean, you know, that's the whole measuring stick. If the Eagles win 35-7 tonight, the Eagles will be a favorite, even if it's 1 or 2 in Washington. And you also have to gauge the health of Daniels and his surrounding players. But looking at that remaining schedule, it is very favorable for this team. And they did do what they had to do early on, 7-3 right now, Charlie. So, you know, this is a tough team. They've stayed in games against teams where you thought they were just going to fold. And it was definitely the Bear game that helped them out immensely. I mean, that Hail Mary and, you know, the crap show that they had at the end of the game, Chicago, speaking of, you know, that just conceded a win and handed it over, and that helped Washington enhance their record and their resume. But, yeah, I'm not so sure unless Daniels goes down and, you know, one of those teams gets on a massive hot streak if they be an underdog again. Philadelphia is the focal game. That's probably the only game, Charlie. But Philadelphia really would have to handle business for that to happen because if you look at a 21-20 game tonight, Washington could easily be a favorite against Philadelphia later on in this NFL season.
How about the Bears? We're Hail Mary away from going 5-2, and now they're 4-5, getting smoked by New England at home. I mean, it is. You talk about a fragile, outfit, huh?
9 sacks, man. 9 sacks.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, the parity of the NFL is amazing, guys. I mean, one week you're on top of the world, next week you can't get out of your own way. And Caleb Williams, he might not be the answer. I mean, they touted this guy. I don't know.
you say that, but like, okay, what about Detroit hosting the Jaguars? I mean, you can't be writing any Jaguars. I mean, that's not a whole lot of parity there.
No, not at all. I mean, if you look at a game like this, it's such a lopsided matchup. And with Campbell looking to rub it in your face, I mean, 12.5 opener up to 14. And we got to the key number real quick here at the Rampart and South Point. So we opened this 12.5. I felt it was even a little low. And Detroit has done nothing wrong. I mean, you saw even last week when Goff makes the 5 mistakes after I heralded him as the second coming for the MVP, you know, they still win the game. And that just also shows the Texans' liability that when you take out these wide receivers, like I always say, CJ is not a mobile quarterback, so you have him standing in the pocket and constantly getting crushed. It's only a matter of time before this kid suffers an injury. So Houston's another team that they really have to watch themselves. Not particular this weekend, but, you know, they just have to gauge the health of their quarterback. But Detroit is a ferocious team. We're writing no tickets on the Jaguars. I mean, maybe now because it's 14, you might see some 7-point teasers on them to make it to 21. 3 touchdowns is a lot at any level of football, especially the NFL. But Jacksonville, you know, they still have Mac Jones possibly starting. I'm not sure if Lawrence will be back this week. And, I don't think he will play. So you got Mac Jones back there again, and that's definitely a liability.
All right, let me try and do this, since the system is down and we've been suspended from our system. All right, Colucci, hockey, horses, coyote safety advice. It's time for the fire hot picks on the ice. Who you got in the NHL tonight, Colucci?
Okay, you don't sound as
Thank you,
good
Charlie.
as the hot chick, though. The girl sounds a little better than you, Jimmy. I like that. Colucci does. Let's go with Winnipeg. I mean, 15-1, guys. And Tampa Bay is really falling on tough time. Winnipeg looked fabulous beating the New York Rangers the other night. They are actually getting tonight on the road, and that's shocking to me. 15-1 against the Tampa Bay Lightning, 7-6. I think Comrie, the backup, is probably going to start for the Jets tonight, but still, I mean, they're a much better team than the Lightning at this stage of the game, and you saw that, exploiting the New York Rangers, which is almost unheard of. I mean, the Rangers are 9-4-1, And, you did have Hellebuck outduel Shesterkin in that matchup. So I'm going to stick with the Jets. I mean, I think they're definitely one of the best teams in the NHL. Okay, round
plus
two.
114, plus 114 at our local shop
20,
here. Okay.
Actually, at the Rampart and South Point, you could get even more than that. So definitely it's a tempting feature, but it'll come down, like you said, Jimmy. Definitely watch the line on that. Florida and the Devils, round two. Okay, for 2 nights ago, the Devils took it to the Florida Panthers in Florida. This is the same matchup, same arena, same everything. Bobrovsky starts instead of Spencer Knight tonight. Jake Allen in between the pipes for the Devils. I think Florida will get back in this game, get a little revenge. They'll split this series 1-1. I mean, you're laying 150, but you're at home with the defending Stanley Cup champions, who are 11-4-1. You get Bobrovsky tonight. They looked really good against the Devils. I mean, most of that game they were out shooting them, in the 30-20 range, but the Devils were able to overcome. And the Devils are a solid hockey team, guys. So don't get too crazy on this game, but I definitely think Florida will bounce back and win this game. We got Winnipeg.
That's the goalie. That's the goalie they throw all the rats at, right? Huh?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, anybody knows that effective devil repellent is a bunch of rats. So no, good job. Yeah, all right, we're on Bobrovsky there.
I love it. Now, once again, we get this crappy matchup of the Predators at Oilers. I'm going to take the plus again, like I always do. I think Edmonton is the most overrated team in the NHL.
You hate the Oilers.
You hate the Oilers. Well, it's not hate. It's just there's immense value, guys, betting against them. And they've made us a fortune over the years betting against them. I mean, look at them tonight, 175. What is it based on? 8-7-1. I mean, Nashville has not played well. They have not found themselves yet. The defensive tandems have not been in cohesion yet. Marchessault has not scored, I believe, an even-strength goal as of yet. Stamkos has been limited, but the Predators are eventually going to break out. Their goaltending and their defense is too good to be playing at a 5-9-2 level. We took immense action, guys, in the offseason on this team once they made those major star power acquisitions to win the Stanley Cup and to win their conference. Right now, they fell flat on their face, but this is definitely a game that could be a turning point in their season. Lay a beating on the Oilers in Edmonton, start getting back on track, and you could get to where your goals were in the offseason.
All right, Colucci, right about that, too. 8-7-1, so not those lines are certainly higher. You would expect a bigger record for that than the Oilers. So Nashville plus 150 and more. Colucci, we're out of time, brother. We appreciate it. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you next week. Thank you, buddy.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Los Reyes Mexican Grill on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
There'll be 2 Major League Baseball teams playing in less than optimum conditions next year. Tampa Bay Rays are going to play their entire 2025 season at the Yankee Spring Training Camp at used to be Legends Field, Steinbrenner Field now. And they're going to spend the whole year there. The Trop was not quite completely destroyed, but pretty close during the hurricane, and their new ballpark is scheduled to open in 2028, so they needed a place to park.
To give you an idea, I mean, we stayed for the LSU Iowa Outback Bowl. That was the Odell Beckham made a great catch. That was the Jeremy Hill. I think he ran it every time.
He did. He had about 100 carries.
And but that facility, that the Yankees is very close to Raymond James Stadium. Yeah. You can see both of them, like from the hotel where we're staying.
So they'll plop there for this year, and we'll see what they're going to do between now and when their new stadium opens. Also, of course, the A's are going to be playing in Sacramento next year at the AAA club there. So while they wait for their new ballpark,
for a year or two,
got a couple of MLB teams playing outside their home parks next year. Back with hour number 2 from Los Reyes Mexican Grill, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Los Reyes Mexican Grill. Tell them you heard it right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bring in Matt Yumans.
Oh, Yumans. Shoot, Yumans, man. We got to apologize, Yumans. How bad was that LSU pick last week? I mean, my God, that was rough. We apologize.
Hey, that's all right. Everybody blows once in a while. Excuse me. I've had a few bad ones like that this year too. And it's odd because I like home dogs in college football, and the home dogs have not been reliable in a lot of spots this season. Now, a few did come through for me last week, including Utah and Hawaii, and some tight games that went to the wire. But in general, this season, the home dogs have not been as strong as in the past. So what was that, LSU's first loss in a night game in, the last 16 games? Something like that?
Brian Kelly was undefeated at night. He was undefeated at night. And look, Matt, the place was ready, okay? I mean, if LSU got their spark lasted one play. They stopped 14-6, Alabama near midfield, 4th and 1. They get stuffed. I mean, the next play, a protection breakdown, Nussmeier fumbles the ball. I mean, one play. I mean, that was it. I mean, it was – but the place was ready to blow the top off that joint, man. I mean, so just didn't – you never got any type of spark. So, but, the other high-profile game, I mean, we the precedent had been set. You get a bad call, maybe you throw a bunch of crap on the field and get a reversal call, but that didn't work either. So
got a $250,000 invoice for that.
Yeah, $250K. So I mean, yeah. Well, you didn't miss. That was not one of your first. I'm glad that wasn't your first trip to Tiger Stadium, Matt. One consolation on that one. You wouldn't have been back.
Well, that's okay. I actually watched the replay, and I thought Alabama looked a lot better than I expected. And Bama's going to be a playoff team, obviously, with a pretty strong resume. What do you guys make of the playoff committee's bracket, I guess, and seedings through the first couple? I don't study it too deeply, but we were talking about it on the air the other night. It's obvious. I mean, it's a given now that the Big Ten and SEC are going to get 4 teams each, and there's no question about that.
I mean, Texas, I've been talking about this since the summer, but the Texas schedule, man. I mean, you beat Vanderbilt by 3 in a row. That's your best win. I mean, I know we think they're good, but with the expanded conferences, you have a lot more variance in the levels of schedule. And Texas got hit with maybe Michigan's usually good and Oklahoma's usually good, but they suck this year, man. They're not any good. And, I mean, were they going to collectively finish below 500 with a few rent-a-wins in there? I mean, and so it's just a really light schedule. And they just, I mean, to put them up there like the number 3 seed, that's crazy to me. I mean, Georgia, Ole Miss, I mean, Alabama, I think they've had tougher paths. There's no doubt. So that's my biggest thing. It's just this kiss ass, with the schedule from the league office to the committee. I mean, God, can we kiss Texas ass anymore?
Matt, here's my question for you. After Jimmy's posterior kissing, it gets down to the end, and let's say Georgia finishes 10-2, doesn't go to the SEC championship game. Penn State finishes 11-1. Doesn't go to the Big Ten championship game. Indiana goes 11-1, doesn't go to the Big Ten championship game. How's the committee going to square that? Georgia's got the number 1 strength of schedule in the country, and if you want to go to Alabama, they've got 11. Penn State's 32, and Indiana's 100. That'll come down a little bit when they play Ohio State. 2-loss SEC teams with much tougher schedules against 1-loss Big Ten teams. That's my big question, going into the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think a loss in a conference championship game should never count against you, right? It can't be a negative being in a conference championship game and losing, and then the other teams below you benefiting because you lost a conference championship game and they didn't play. It's typical. I read Ward Manuel's explanation of why the committee liked one team better than the other last week. Absolutely clueless explanation. They sit in this room and act like, they're rocket scientists, and they're a bunch of dumbasses, to be honest. And they don't get on the same page with an explanation of why one team is better than another. It's not that difficult. It's very similar to the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee. Why did this team get snubbed? Why'd you pick this team? And they never have a really sound explanation for it. It shouldn't be that challenging to come out and talk about it. Anyway, I think, Alabama was a team a lot of people I know was ready to write off. Bama, looked suspect. So they looked bad in a couple of games. But now Bama's right back in it, and when you look at the resume, pretty strong. So I think this is the most interesting college football postseason in a long, long time. And the reason is, from a betting perspective, you can bet some of the long shots now. And I'm talking going back weeks. You could have taken a shot on Indiana at 100-1, or some of these other teams you could have played in the past. You knew there was going to be a group of 4 or 5 teams who were going to make the playoff. They were all around, single digit or 10-1 odds, and that was all you got. Now you've actually got teams like Boise State that could get in. Hey, look, I've watched Ohio State in every game. You can't tell me that's the best football team in the country. Ohio State is very beatable. And, same thing about Penn State's an automatic playoff. What's Penn State done? Penn State's managed to beat up on some bad teams out of the Big Ten and, has a win over West Virginia. That resume is not that impressive. So I don't think any of these major conference teams, and actually the teams at the top of the SEC, are not as good as they have been in the past 15 to 20 years. I don't even think it's close. So I could see a team like Boise State getting in there and pulling off an upset or something like that. I don't think the elite teams out of the Big Ten and the SEC are as great as they have been in the past. So this could be a pretty cool playoff. I just like the 12 teams. It took way too long to get to this point. We should have got to 8 teams or 12 teams about 25 years ago.
And no question. And where, in theory, you would think that the NIL/transfer portal would widen the gap, it's going in reverse order. And whether it's the NIL schools, that's a heavy distraction now. Mike Gundy tried to tip us off, with his, look at their season they have. If there was one given in college football, it's that the best running back and the whole offensive line back, they're going to be able to run the ball. They can't. And he was trying to tell you, these guys are still, my agents their agents are still calling me. We're 2 weeks before the first kickoff. And the other thing is there's no super teams, because those players that are 4 stars and 5 stars that usually, sit 1 year or maybe even 2, and then you're on your way to the NFL, but those guys are gone for immediate playing time. So it has become a little bit more like March Madness, where I kind of laughed at people when they said that. And the flat-out thing, Charlie, the rankings aren't good for most, but it's still a barometer. There's been, last year you had 5 all season, unranked teams beat top 10 teams. This year already we've had 10.
Yeah.
And so, it is, to Matt's point, so you can take a shot on a money line dog in an individual game, and some of these lower resource, lower historic light, programs like Indiana to make a real run.
I think new blood is good.
Yeah, it's great.
Indiana, BYU, Ole Miss, SMU could all get in the playoff, could all win a game. Ole Miss could win more than one, in my opinion.
Ole Miss can play with anybody if they play like they did.
They just got to get in.
Real good. Matt, who you got this week in college football?
I've got to bet on Ole Miss at about, I think, somewhere around 20-1 before the season, 20 or 25-1.
Hold on to that one.
Let's see. This week, I've got Kansas, and I think a lot of bettors have Kansas this week. Pretty obvious. The Circus Sports number opened BYU -4 on Sunday morning, and the entire market was down to 2.5 by yesterday.
Oh.
And BYU's needed 2 miracles so far. The home game against Oklahoma State on that Friday night, and then last Saturday night against Utah. I really hated the call. I just prefer the officials stay out of the game and not influence the outcome like that. The quarterback, Jake Retzlaff, was just overwhelmed and sacked, didn't even have a chance. Utah crowd's going berserk, and wait, there's a flag on the field, automatic first down, defensive holding. That really sucks. But, on top of that, Utah still had a chance to win the game, and then allowed a 30-yard completion to Retzlaff out in their midfield, and ends up losing 22-21. I can't play Utah this week just because it's such a deflating loss off the Holy War Super Bowl. And I don't want to play BYU this week because there's got to be some sort of a letdown off a huge win like that. And hey, guess what? This Kansas team is rolling. We talked about it on your show last week. Kansas is an underdog to Iowa State. Jayhawks had the lead in the fourth quarter in all 6 of their losses. And, they roll over Iowa State a week ago with 532 total yards and Jalen Daniels with an outstanding game. And against Lance Leipold, who's a great coach, had a tough season. Kansas has a chance still to get to a bowl game. I like the Jayhawks. I think they're going to go in and beat BYU in Provo on Saturday night. So you got to take +3. I assume, did you guys bet that this week?
No, not yet. Every time I bet an early line, I get screwed. Just like when I took LSU -4.5 on Sunday. Now it's down to 4. So I mean, I'm the worst.
He's still taking the Titans though every Sunday.
Don't start. Yes, I'm big in. I mean, the Titans or I've already talked to my CPA. They're a legitimate write-off, so it's a dependent. So the Randy McKay gave us the Titans. That's why we're bringing that one up too. So
Oh boy. Oh,
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
I mean,
Who else you got?
Look good. Actually, the Titans look good this week again. They've covered one game the entire season, and the Sharps bet the Titans every freaking week. Every week. Anyway, we get back to college football. I've got Wisconsin as a 14-point home dog Saturday night to Oregon. I've got San Jose State as a 14-point home dog to Boise. Let's see what else. You know, this is ugly. This is an ugly home dog. Northwestern plus 28.5 against Ohio State. And if you look at Northwestern's offensive numbers, you would say, how in the hell has this team won 4 games? Jack Lausch, who's not going to be mentioned as a Heisman candidate, he's a quarterback right now for the Purple Cats. He's got 5 touchdown passes this season. Guess what? Northwestern has used 3 quarterbacks this season, and those 3 have a total of 5 touchdown passes. That's actually incredible at this point in the season, and that team has 4 wins. But Northwestern can stay in the game with defense, and get, you know, the Buckeyes are going to be looking ahead. Their next 2 games, Indiana and Michigan. So I kind of like the Purple Cats, 28.5 home dogs. San Diego State, UNLV over the total of 54 late Saturday night. Rebels putting up about 40 points a game. They've got a great offense. They had a couple touchdowns called back by penalty against Hawaii, or probably would have won that game a little bit easier last Saturday night in Honolulu. So play the over. Got a few home dogs. Got Kansas as a road dog, and I got some other teams on my short list this week. I don't know if I'm going to play, like Arkansas and Kansas State.
Okay. All right. I like Kansas State. I like Kansas State a lot. I'll give you one more, Matt. Friday night, Willie Fritz, man. You know, the 2 teams where
I'm all over that
one team, their locker room this deep in the season, they're exceeding expectations. They feel good about their season, and I love first-year coaches, how you improve over the course of the season. And the other one with Arizona, I mean, you were able to keep the quarterback and the wide receiver. That was a big deal to keep them from going to Washington.
Yeah.
But they're way below their goals for the season. So, man, 2 levels of excitement, 2 different levels of excitement in those locker rooms. I love Willie Fritz in that spot.
McMillan's had a really good year. Fafita, the quarterback, who was terrific as a freshman last year, has been a turnover machine. He's got 10 interceptions. He's just been a mess. And I really liked him a year ago. He's had a bad year.
He was a little spunky, a little undersized kind of quarterback. Was good, but what they given opposing defenses are really focusing in on McMillan too. Yeah. So they're throwing a lot of stuff. Who's your NFL pick this week, Matty?
I was looking at that game as well on Friday night, and also Washington over UCLA. Let's see. How about in the NFL? I played the Commanders plus 3.5 tonight.
Good.
Let's see.
Hope you're right.
You know, what's that?
Good. I hope you're right. We're rooting for Jaden Daniels around here.
Yeah, he had a rough week. He was 17 for 34 against the Steelers. No touchdowns, sacked 3 times. But I was on the Steelers last week, and I thought they were going to give it a difficult time. I think Daniels bounces back against the Eagles. And the Eagles, looked a lot better in the last few weeks. But, again, they've been playing a relatively weak schedule and playing patsies like the Cowboys. Last week, Washington was held a season-low 242 yards and punted a season-high 6 times. I think they're going to get back on track. And they picked up Marshawn Lattimore in that trade with the Saints, and he's going to help that secondary. It's had some issues. But 3.5, I had to play the Commanders. I've also got Patriots plus 4.5. Patriots sacked Caleb Williams 9 times last week, 7 times on blitzes, and I got to think they're going to send the blitzes right at Matthew Stafford. He can't move and can't handle pressure right now. Steelers plus 3.5. DraftKings had a 3.5. I probably wouldn't play it at 3 because I think the 3.5 is going to pop up again before the weekend. But Steelers have won 7 of the last 8, I think, against the Ravens, and Lamar Jackson's 1-3 against Pittsburgh. this one defense that knows how to contain Lamar Jackson. Steelers plus 3.5. Broncos -2 and Bills -2. And I'm considering the Bengals against the Chargers. Joe Burrow 15-6 against the spread as a road dog. And I think this is the first time the Chargers are really going to face a high-powered passing attack. They've been facing a lot of pretty lame offenses, why those defensive numbers for the Chargers look so good. I am not going to take the bait with the Titans. I looked at it this week and said, man, this has got to be a great spot to play Tennessee. But I think I'm 0-3-1 playing the Titans this season. I can't do it this week.
Yep, Matt, I mean, just another typical college football season, huh? Northwestern and Ohio State playing in Wrigley Field. Ohio State looking ahead to the mighty Fighting Wes Reynolds in Indiana University. My good, yeah, just another season. Is he calmed down on some of the crazy, X posts, the Twitter posts with quoting Air Supply and Judge Judy and everything else? How is he handling this newfound success in IU?
Is he on your show? He's on your show every week, right?
Yeah. Oh, he picked Northwestern. Yeah, yesterday.
Oh, he did. Okay. I think Wes is handling it pretty well. I mean, he's not as grumpy walking around the studio as he usually is.
Hey, Jimmy, who do I need for you to win?
That's why I talk to him every week. I just want a little shot at Wes.
Outside eyes. Yeah.
My man, Wes. Great.
Think about it. It's crazy. Indiana's 10-0. Indiana typically needs like 3 or 4 years to win 10 games. Are you kidding me? Chris Signetti's the coach of the year, and there's no doubt about it. Indiana has got a bit of a break. Not Michigan's down, hasn't had to face a more difficult schedule. In fact, Indiana doesn't have a win against any team that's ranked. But still, what you see is the real deal. The Hoosiers are taking care of business, and they haven't even played that many close games. I thought the Wolverines would probably give them a game last week, but it's so tough to take Michigan because the quarterbacks are so bad. So.
Two things. Wes better get his little pocketbook, and Mark Cuban better get that checkbook ready. And another thing, this guy Signetti's going to get a lot of coaches fired at some places that are really tough to win at, man. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is the best coaching job in my lifetime. I mean, 95, Gary Barnett winning the Big Ten at Northwestern this is unbelievable what he's doing right now. And I know they have still right at a triple-digit strength of schedule, but damn, they look good. Man, they look good.
I know, like I said, they're blowing teams out. I know a lot of sharp bettors who are playing against Indiana every week, taking 7 with Maryland, taking the 8 with Michigan State, and you don't have a chance. You just get crushed. Kurt Signetti's done a phenomenal job, and I never thought I would see this in my lifetime. Right now, DraftKings Indiana is minus 550 to make the college football playoff.
Oh, they're in. They're in. No, don't get beat by 50 and beat Purdue. I mean, they're in. Matt, good luck, man. We're up against the break. We appreciate it.
Okay, you too. You bet. Thanks.
All right, don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com.
Some of the guys that you'll be looking for Kansas State, if you remember the name Coleman Hawkins, he was a All Big Ten, second-team All Big Ten at Illinois last year. LSU ruptured themselves trying to get that kid to transfer here. He picked Kansas State. There was some talk that he might go to the NBA draft, but he decided to come back. He's had a cold start, but he had a terrific career at Illinois. 6'10", and he'll shoot the three a little bit. They also got Braden Hausen from Villanova, a designated three-point shooter. Almost all of his shots are threes. He is a 10 for 18 early this season, so he can shoot it. Kansas State's got a pair of large guards in the backcourt, 2 6'5" kids, Mac Jones and C.J. Jones. There's a question about LSU in the backcourt. It's with size. Jordan Sears is only 5'11", and we'll see what LSU looks like. This is a very well-coached team usually for Kansas State and Jerome Tang. They were an Elite Eight team 2 years ago.
Right.
Last year they were in the NIT. They lost in the first round. So they're expecting a sellout crowd. This will be a good test.
NIT last year, the Big 12 sent 9 teams to the tournament last year, but one of those teams was Texas. So it was 8 of the current Big 12 teams were there. They were picked to finish exactly 8th in the Big 12 in the media. Basketball media days for the Big 12. So right on that, kind of the fringe of a tournament team. So on the road, yeah, I mean those they usually bring a nice crowd. And they've got a young coach who was really good. The little guard was so good, man. That Elite Eight run. And would they lose? They lost San Diego State or what? Oh no. Florida Atlantic in that regional final in Madison Square Garden. A tremendous game. I mean, a great game. So yeah, this is by far the biggest. This is the toughest non-conference game that they have. LSU.
I think so.
Who else are we looking at?
I would. I'm not up on all of my.
I'm not. You have the schedule?
Yeah, I do. They play Pitt.
That's right. LSU
in a tournament. Pitt. Yeah, they play Pitt. They play
Pitt on neutral.
They play Florida State. Also on a neutral, and then they play SMU in Dallas, right there about a week or so before Christmas. So those are the highlights of the non-conference schedule.
I would, and all those are on neutral.
No, SMU they play on. It's a true road game.
Okay.
Pitt and Florida State. I think that Florida State game is actually in the Assembly Center. I got to check. But this will be one of the there were 4. Those were the 4 against power conferences. Also be a homecoming for Cam Carter, who played the last 2 years there. Originally from Donaldsonville, he was a good player for Kansas State last year. He averaged 14 and a half points a game last year for Kansas State before deciding to return here. He has averaged 21 in his first 2 games for LSU.
But Kansas State's supposed to be a little bit better than SMU this year. 18-team ACC. They were picked to finish 13th. Pitt picked to finish 7th. So that could be, and we have to see how these two teams. But this could be LSU's toughest non-conference game. I would say one of the top 2. If not the second toughest.
Yeah.
So a lot of new faces. It's a team that's, I don't know. It's hard to tell.
We don't. I'm giving you a preview. I'm reading the scouting sheet.
They really
right
struggled
here.
on Sunday against the SWAC team. They looked pretty good against UL Monroe.
Yeah, and I saw maybe 8 minutes of that game or so. So we'll see tonight. Well, I'll be able to give you a firm opinion tonight of what I see tonight. The game against Florida State is in the PMAC. That's part of the ACC-SEC challenge.
Yeah, so this is either this one or Pitt on a neutral is going to be their tough. It's going to be the toughest true road game. I mean, Kansas State's probably going to be a little stronger than SMU this year.
Okay, yeah. I've got no problem believing that. LSU against Florida State in the SEC-ACC challenge. You know who the women play in the SEC-ACC
Is Hamilton
challenge?
still the coach there?
Yeah,
he is still there.
Yeah,
Golly.
yeah. You know who the women play in the SEC-ACC challenge?
Who was one of the top 2 teams? It's South Carolina, LSU from the SEC. Maryland?
No. One of the top teams.
SMU?
It's
Cal.
Stanford.
It's
just funny, I
caught on midstream where your mind was.
Vanderveer retired after she'd been there for 3 decades, but ACC, SEC. Yeah, Stanford.
Are they playing in Palo Alto?
First school. No, they're playing here.
I maintain, certainly different colleges, but the Spanish architecture is very similar. It is. I've been on Stanford's campus. It reminds you a lot of. Imagine LSU with palm trees instead of oak trees. It's really it's unreal.
I hear it's really pretty out there.
It is. It's kind of a tough spot to get to.
I might have had a tough time getting into Stanford. Yeah, the academics are pretty. Pretty strenuous.
I could barely spell Stanford when I was coming out of Archbishop Shaw, Charlie. So, that's why I had to study very hard once I got to the Stately Oaks. Yes.
Basketball tonight at 8 o'clock. The Commanders, Eagles, and LSU K-State tonight. Got a good night.
Yes, indeed. So, hey, don't forget our friends at Supreme Rice, SupremeRice.com. You trying to get that restaurant quality, that restaurant level of rice, the big, thick, kind of firm rice, not a whole lot of residue. It's the Powerball rice. It's available wherever. It's wherever you find your Supreme Rice. So, all right, let's get to it. Let's get to your top 3 picks in college football, see who we got this week.
Well, I'm only going to give you a little bit here today because I've been so deep working in this women's basketball stuff. It's been great. But so tonight's game, East Carolina plays Tulsa. East Carolina, since firing their coach Mike Houston, has really been good. They played their best football so far. Blake Harrell, the D coordinator, has taken over the job as the interim guy. And you would think as the D coordinator, they would be more defensive, but they're not. They had been the fastest team in college football all year. They play fast. They're up-tempo. They go, 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 go. Their quarterback, they made a switch after 4 weeks, went to sophomore Caton Hauser, and he has thrown 10 touchdown passes in the last 2 weeks. They put up 56 against Temple, 49 against Florida Atlantic. Now, I'm not making a case for East Carolina because this line opened 11 and was bet up to 14. But Tulsa's head coach, Kevin Wilson, was at Indiana for 6 years as a head guy, and obviously he's no Kurt Siganetti. But he was at Ohio State for 6 years, and he was their offensive coordinator. He loves to throw the football. They've been an over team. They've gone over 4 of their last 5. East Carolina has gone over their last 4 and 5 of the last 6. My total 69.5. It was bet up from 57.5 to 61, but I still think there's an edge betting this game over tonight.
All right, over East Carolina going with that tempo. Yeah, man, scoring over 50 points a game the last 2. All right, who else we looking at, Kenny?
Well, you'd mentioned the Tigers are headed to Gainesville to take on the Gators, and it seems like Billy Napier, may have saved his job with a couple of decent performances, but last week after getting beat up by Texas, we don't know. I think this is an over game this weekend. I went over 56 with LSU and Florida. The last 3 Florida games have gone over. They put up 48 in the game against Kentucky at home, and that was their last home game. And Kentucky does have a solid defense. I know the LSU team, don't have the notes here in front of me, but I think they've been an over team predominantly most of this season. My total a little over 64. It was 56 the latest I looked, so I like that one over, and then I'll give you the NFL game.
All right. Yep. So a couple of overs over to East Carolina, over LSU, Florida. Who we like in the NFL?
Well, I guess we make it a 3-team trifecta here with another over. Tonight's NFL game, Washington and Philadelphia. We've got 2 really good quarterbacks that are both dual threats. They can beat you with their arm and their legs. And interesting, though, Jaden Daniels has not run as much the last 4 games as he did the first 6 of the season. That doesn't mean he's not going to run tonight. This is such an important game for Washington in first place. Actually, I guess they're a half a game out behind Philadelphia right now because the Eagles are on a 5-game winning streak. But these are 2 good teams in battle, and I think Daniels will do everything in his power to win this game tonight. And I'm amazed. I did his median stats for the year. 19 for 27, no interceptions, 230 yards, 1 touchdown. Then I did his away stats, thinking they may be a little bit lesser than what he's done overall, but I was wrong. On the road, Daniels, 21 for 24, very accurate, 233 yards, 2 touchdowns. On the year, he's median 8 rushes for 46 yards. I don't know what the rushing number is on the prop tonight, but I like that. I like it over. I think he's going to have to run more tonight than he has been the last couple of weeks. And then, Jalen Hurts, he's clicking on all cylinders. They put up 28 or more in their last 4 straight games. This offense is one of the best in football. And Jaden Daniels has pushed Washington's offense to my 5th best in football right now. So 2 top 5 offenses. Last year, Philadelphia, they win 34-31 in overtime at home and 38-31 in Washington. Both of those well over the total. I have this total 55.5. You can go over 48.5.
Be interesting to see because it was a little bit of a low spot, offense since his first start at Tampa Bay for Jaden Daniels against Pittsburgh. Don't be confused with 28-27. It was not that offensive. I think they had about 240 total yards. His yards per attempt were a little bit. Pittsburgh's a much better defense than Philadelphia. So is it a leveling off for the rookie, or it was just maybe Pittsburgh being that good of a team? So we're interested to see. Yeah, we said the fly in the ointment is if he gets hit enough. He's still learning how to protect himself and get down with the slide. He was actually uncomfortable sliding, but he can make all the throws to all the different levels, and he's highly accurate, and that's hard to do, to get a young quarterback with so much athleticism to be so calm in the pocket. But we think it's sustainable. It'll be a very interesting game tonight against Philadelphia. Kenny, I'm curious. You talked about kind of dabbling into the women's college basketball a little bit more. Probably there's, in some of your research, who do you think you're getting a good line on, and maybe who's underrated and who's maybe a little overrated according to the point spread values early on in that sport?
Well, that's a great question. The one team that I have, South Carolina, everybody knows, and LSU is some of the top women's programs in the country. But I have Notre Dame number one in the country. Okay. I think they're the best basketball team. And I actually have Connecticut number 2 and South Carolina 3 right now. There's some really good programs. McNeese State is the women's. We know the men's is good. I had under last night with McNeese State, and their defense, and for a smaller school, they play some great defense. So that's another one. Stanford is a good team, not great. UNLV, really well coached, this women's team. I think they're going to be underestimated. They're due to win a NCAA tournament game this year. They may win a couple. They're that good.
There you go. Well, Kim Mulkey, the early signing period yesterday with the number 1 recruiting class for this year's 24-25 recruiting season. Hey, KennyWhiteSports.com, KennyWhiteSports.com, the VIP club. You can get the picks as they come straight. Get the little alert on your phone, man, so you get them as they come in, from Kenny, from all of your contributors.
Yes, they do, there's ups and downs, but I had a nice little Monday. A couple of, I think I was 4-0 on the props and 1-0 maybe a basketball play, but it goes back and forth. But we've done very well. I think we're around 60% in the club, and you may get overwhelmed sometimes with 200 plays in a month, but that's still only about 6-7 a day. So you can kind of pick and choose which ones you like. They're all rated out, and I know my dad was 2-0 or 3-0, I think, last week in the CFL. So you get a little bit of everything in the club as well. It's not just one sport. You get NFL, college football, college basketball is going to be more and more once we get a really good hold on these teams. There's some NBA plays, there's some NHL plays. It's a little bit of everything for you, Jimmy.
Hey, and give me with college basketball. We saw the doubleheader the other night. We watched Alabama, McNeese State, and LSU. What do you think about LSU in this Kansas State game tonight? Could be their toughest non-conference game.
Oh no, yeah, no doubt about it. But right now, I think LSU is going to be strong is on the offensive end. I think that pushing the basketball. They love to drive and kick out and shoot the threes, and I think they have some really good three-point shooters, especially Carter, one of the better three-point shooters in the country. So Kansas State, always going to be a lockdown defense, and they play slow. They try to get you to work deep into the shot clock. So I think that's the key to this game is LSU trying to create some turnovers on defense to quicken the pace a little bit, especially when you're on the road. Kansas State can really slow things down to a grind at home with that D. So that'll be the key. LSU just getting out in transition tonight.
If you're interested in any of Kenny's services, again, KennyWhiteSports.com. Kenny, for years and years, was setting the lines for the Las Vegas sports books, the Las Vegas consultants. Now he's on this side of the counter, handicapping them with all of that insight. So you can also contact him at 216-299-5390. Again, KennyWhiteSports.com. Kenny, good luck to you this week, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Amen, Jimmy. Best of luck to you as well. God bless you.
Duel. He's on with those guys today. Yeah, he went in there and said, "I'm pretty nervous." That's not what I expect out of Gruden. I don't suspect he'll be nervous with that group for long. I think Mincy would do with Gruden.
Mincy's how things have changed for the Ole Miss Rebels, huh?
Oh, look, since halftime of what game was it? Oklahoma. He came on halftime, just so depressed. I'm just disappointed. Since then, things are perking up for Mincy. Thanks to the folks here at Los Reyes Mexican Grill. What a fabulous day to be out here on the patio. You come out here for drinks or eats a little bit later on today. Great lineup tonight. We got the Commanders and the Eagles plus LSU basketball against Kansas State, so we'll be able to find something tomorrow. We start at 10 a.m., our Football Friday edition. Log of the Week Friday is presented by Tex Morris at Edward Jones Investments. Richard Dixon and I get you started from Rufino's at 10 a.m., and we'll go 3 hours tomorrow, getting you ready for the weekend. Thanks, Taylor Sharp, for subbing in for Jordan Kitchens today. For Jimmy Ott, I'm Charles Hanagriff saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.